Hello and welcome to episode 45 of the Gaming Buzz podcast. Oh wait, they already did that, but they did it without me. They did it on their top 5 favorite video games of 2016. So I'm Darien, and I'm here with Darien. How's it going? Pretty good. That's a lot of money, man. I'm so confused, actually. That's a lot of 20s. I haven't seen this many 20s in one place at one time. I had no idea that Jackson was a parrot. But other than that, instead of being really distracted by a lot of money, I'm going to hand the money back to its rightful owner. But that was a cameo by Dalton's Money. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to go into the number 5 of my list, and it is Valkyrie Drive Bikuni, which came out on Vita this year in the North America. Yeah, I heard that's a pretty good game. Yeah, that is a pretty good game. It kind of describes me of it kind of reminds me of Senran Kagura because it is made by the Senran Kagura developers and created by the same guy, Kenshiro Taka, our Lord and Savior, my Lord and Savior. No, but it's a fighting game. It has weird mechanics, and it was pretty good. I mean, it's pretty long. It's pretty difficult because the controls are a little bit clunky, but I mean, what do you expect? It was kind of rushed, and it had to get a patch that basically rewrote the entire game's code because it lagged and it didn't work. Yeah, I played that game too. Shut up. I know you've played that game. So, what is your number 5? It is God Eater 2. Oh, I played that game too. What am I even doing? But my other number 5 is God Eater 2 because, well, it's like Monster Hunter, but like not as good. It's like Vacation Monster Hunter. Like you need to take your break from it, so it's more fast-paced. You don't have to fight a monster for like 50 minutes to kill it. Sometimes it'll be as quick as 5 to 10 minutes. 20 minutes is long. You just got to make sure you got to keep up with your weapons and your stats and make sure that you're progressing pretty good with what you're getting, but it's a low maintenance game, so you don't have to worry about really getting more armor or new weapons really that often. That sounds pretty nice. So I assume you're done with your number 5? Yeah, I mean, we're sharing the same mind, so we don't have to really transition that much. Right. So my number 4 is Ratchet & Clank on PS4. That came out really early this year, around April, I believe. And that game is gorgeous. It looks like a animated movie. It was really impressive when it came out. Glitchy as all else, but it's really fun when it's not glitching and when it's actually acting right. But I give that my number 4 spot because I really enjoyed it, and it was one of the first video games I really beaten all the way through. Lately, because I've been trying to beat games and they just happen to be too long. Yeah, I understand how that is. Yeah, he does understand because, Darien's really smart. Yeah, Darien is really smart. But this Ratchet & Clank was a really good reboot, but the movie sucked. But I really enjoyed this game. Good platformer, fun weapons. The weapon that I forget, it's like the Pixelizer or something like that, or Pixelizer. Or you shoot enemies with it, they turn into pixels and they explode into little squares, and it's pretty cool. Really cool graphics. So what's your number 4? Well, my number 4 is Monster Hunter Generations. No, Cross. Because Generations came out last year. Right. Well, Monster Hunter Cross was a pretty cool, like, no, it was Generations. Get it together! It's confusing because in Japan it's Cross, and we got it as Generations here. Yeah, I know. It's a little bit weird, but we never had Monster Hunters really named on par in Japan and North America and everywhere else. Right. But Monster Hunter Generations was really fun because it paid homage, and it was like an anniversary game saying, look at all of this Monster Hunter stuff. You went from the villages from the first game all the way to the newest game. And it has its own village. It really shows off like a bunch of showcase monsters. It's kind of difficult to think of because if you're not a Monster Hunter fan, you're not going to really understand what's so special about this game. But it lets you complete quests or missions or whatever you want to call them from each of the different towns. So each town has their own custom urgent quests, or not urgent quests, but like request quests. And each place is represented pretty well, and it doesn't really matter where you go through the meat and potatoes of the game, village-wise. But if you have kind of your own preference on which generation is your favorite, you can hang out in that village and complete the game. And the online is really good, even though it was kind of too soon for me to jump into Generations from Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. But I do give this my number 4 spot. Okay. So my number 3 spot is Pokemon Sun. Oh, you talking about Pokemon? My number 3 spot is Pokemon Moon. Right. So I don't think this game really needs much explanation. It's the newest Pokemon game. It's fun. Pokemon Sun and Moon had 12-hour differences. So in Moon, you played 12 hours of the clock being different. So, you're playing at night when you're playing in the day, really. And Sun follows you're playing in the day at day. So, there's nothing really that different. You basically just don't have gyms, and it just twists up the Pokemon formula enough to make it feel fresh, but it's the same Pokemon game as we have had in the past. But graphical overhaul, really fun, but when you have 4 players at once, or 4 Pokemon on the field at once, say goodbye to your frame rate. Yeah, I can agree. The game is pretty fun. I enjoy a lot of the new Pokemon that came out. Yeah, so did I. My favorite new Pokemon is Golisopod. Yeah, so is mine. Okay, that's getting a little old. So I give that my number 3 spot. So my number 2 spot is Rise of the Tomb Raider. But didn't that game come out in 2015? Yeah, on Xbox One, which is not how I played it because Xbox One is utter garbage, in my opinion. Well, actually, I want one for Forza Horizon 3, which I didn't get to play. So I should get a PC and play it on there. Yeah, it's a good idea, and you should get a good graphics card, but we're not talking about that. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about Rise of the Tomb Raider. The new Tomb Raider reboot, the one that came out in 2013 or 2011, I always forget, but the Tomb Raider reboot, which I have played the Tomb Raider reboot on PC, PS3, and PS4. That's how much I like it. I played it all the way through on those 3 platforms, and I've played it twice at least on PS3 and PC. But Rise of the Tomb Raider basically takes the same game, so same controls, same feel, everything feels the same, just things have been fixed and tightened up a little bit, platforming is a little bit more refined, the gunplay is a little bit more refined, but the story is a little bit longer, it's a little bit more open world, but it still keeps you going in a linear fashion. But I do enjoy a linear game because I do get lost in open worlds a little too often, and I don't normally finish open world games that much. Unless it's Grand Theft Auto, then I can finish that. But Rise of the Tomb Raider has really fun combat, and the bow and arrow is just as satisfying as it was in Rise of the Tomb Raider. Yeah, because in... didn't you just say Rise of the Tomb Raider? Didn't you mean Tomb Raider, the one that rebooted it? Yeah, I meant that. So you're saying that it's just as satisfying? Yeah, it's the most satisfying weapon in all of video game history. I don't care what anybody says. So, what is your number 2 spot? Mine is Nitro Plus Blasters on PS4 and PS3, and it just came out on PC not that long ago, which the PC version has enhancements. It has extra frames of animation for backgrounds and all that stuff, but we're not talking about that. It's a hands-down really good fighting game. I mean, it has only women in it. Good man. Yeah, I mean, I think that you have the same taste in video games as me. Yeah, I do quite a bit, which I could backtrack onto Rise of the Tomb Raider and say you're going to be looking at Lara's butt a lot because the camera loves it. Oh, you dirty man. But Nitro Plus Blasters is a really solid fighting game. I really enjoyed it. It has some complicated mechanics in it, but lots of fighting games do. But it has really flashy graphics, really fast-paced. It's really the first actual fighting game that actually got me into them because, well, I kind of went into buying, like, I got the Denkenki Busho something, the anime fighting game that came out on PS3 and Vita a while back in, like, 2014, I believe. I got that, and I'm starting to backtrack and playing fighting games now because Nitro Plus Blasters actually got me into it because Super Sonico, which is one of my favorite characters from Japanese media, was on the cover. I'm like, hey, I like that character, so I started playing it, and it has DLC for Senran Kagura. You can get a character from there, and there's some from other animes that there's DLC for, but it's a generally really good, solid game that came from the arcades and was ported to PS3 and PS4. And I'm not quite sure about Vita, but it came out on PC also. So if you're PC Master Race, you'll enjoy it. Right, that game sounds really fun. I actually played it quite a bit. Yeah. So it's a good second place spot because I put a lot of hours into it. So, my number 1 spot is Senran Kagura Estival Versus. And many people think, but wait, that game's not really that good because it's just kind of a generic fighting game. Or not like a fighting game, but like just a generic anime Japanese game with fan service. And that's why it's on my number 1. It's because the fan service is absolutely nuts. Xseed, thank you for not censoring anything when you bring it to the West, other than their ages. They take the ages away so that controversial things don't happen, but you can just go to the website and get their ages there. But the fan service, none of it is cut out. I love that franchise. It's the first PS4 game or first PlayStation game I have platinumed. I played the absolute crap out of it, and I still visit it once in a while for funny, to see the funny text and read the funny stuff that the characters interact with, and I got all the DLC for it. I played it on Vita and PS4. I got the PS4 trophies, all of them, and I kind of gave up on my Vita trying to get all the trophies because that game got really hard on Vita because they let the opponents, like in the PS4 version, there's a big difference. All the characters that you fight against load in one time, and you fight against them all in one time, and you would think that's harder, but you can weaken them in strategic ways. But in the Vita version, they say, okay, here's 2 characters, fight them. Here's 2 characters, fight them. And you can't strategically take them out to try to take out the one that'll kill you the most first. So it doesn't really work out in your favor all the time. But I do think it's a really solid game. It's showing that the series is on a rise because, well, it's getting really good. Like the series from the first game on 3DS to the game now, and I'm awaiting that game, the Peach Beach Splash, which is coming out next year in Japan for sure in March. And I'm not quite sure about the United States release, but Estival Versus has me really excited because the PS4 graphics were very clean looking, the character animations were very nice, and it just makes me excited because it's going to be a single platform game only on PS4, and Estival Versus is definitely showing me that the series is going good, and it's my favorite game of this year. Hands down. Like, hands down. I can't put my hands down any more further, because if I was to put my hands down any further, it'd go into the shut up already. But I know where you're going. You're going to just say it's going to go into the core of the earth, and you'd burn your hands. So what's your number one game? Mine is Uncharted 4. But you didn't finish the game yet. It's Uncharted 4 on PS4. It's only on PS4. Yeah. So why is it your favorite game? Well, my people are probably confused right now. It's a beautiful game. It's a really beautiful game. So it looks nice. Is that the only reason? The story is really good. You can tell it's a Neil Druckmann game because The Last of Us is amazing. I don't care what anybody says, but The Last of Us has really good storytelling, and the same story directors went ahead and did like Uncharted 4. You could definitely tell the character development is there. Like, I played the other Uncharteds, but not really all the way. And I just couldn't feel like I cared about the characters very much until I played Uncharted 4. And I'm like, I want to care about these characters now. And the graphics, those graphics for a PS4 game, which is obviously really crappy hardware, to be honest, compared to a PC, it looks so good. I don't even know how they pull off some of those scenes. Like, there's the one that they showed out. There's a scene that they showed off in E3 where there was a truck driving and you're on your brother's motorcycle and you're going down and it's just like, I don't even know how they pulled it off. It was fun. It looked good. Naughty Dog, what is your witchcraft? Like, I haven't been so amused in my life. Neither have I. I really enjoyed that game too. Well, I'm still playing through it. Yeah, so am I. Man, this is really awkward. But Uncharted 4 is a must-have for people who do not like fan service games. And Estival vs. Sanran Kagura is a must-have for fan service-loving game people. And it's not all about the fan service either. It's about storytelling and funniness. It's funny. It's really, really funny. Like, if you don't enjoy sexual humor, you'll feel really out of place. But yeah. And if you don't like people saying dang it and like some of the awkward stuff about Uncharted 4 about characters not swearing as heavily, but I kind of understand because they were in a religious orphanage. I don't know if that's spoilers or not, but it's early in the game. So there's nuns. There's nuns in Uncharted 4. So I think that about wraps it up at nuns and sexy girls. So if you like this episode of Gaming Buzz, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get all of our notifications. And you definitely want to watch the Turbo Button update because it's the best show on this channel. Most definitely. And the unboxings, because those are the best thing in the world too, because, you know, you love to see that cellophane get ripped off those game discs or cases. So I guess I'll see you guys later. Darien, thanks for coming on. You're very welcome. And thank you for having me on. Yep, no problem. And we'll see you guys later. Bye. See ya.
Did you like that? Of course you did. You can get more at GamingBuzz.com. Let us know what else you want by connecting with us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube.